Yes, welcome back to the South Australian Sports Show. Poppy, I don't mind telling you our next guest, an absolute legend in the music industry. He's across his sport pretty well. 2015 South Australian Senior, if you don't mind, Australian of the Year. So we talk about Johnny Swan. Swanee, how are you?
Good, mate, good.
Right, appreciate your time coming in. Now,
we had to emphasise that.
Senior, well, you're in here with a couple of seniors. We couldn't go after the junior. She was 15. I don't know where to squeeze you in on that.
Great, yeah.
Mate, sport for you, was it a big part of your life growing up?
Well, it still is. You know, like I sit and watch Foxtel and that's all I do is watch sport. You know, my wife's in one room and I'm in the other.
yeah. Well, I think we can all. Yeah.
But no, I played a lot of sport, and I know a lot of footballers, obviously, because you just grow up and you go to the same places, have drinks with the same people, you know, like, and mix with the same circles.
So, mate, the family immigrated out. You would have been 8 or 9, 1961. They came out. Am I all right? And then
that's right.
A quick bit of research. That moving and coming, soccer, of course, the big game. Well, football, if you're there.
Soccer.
What got you when you came here? Did Aussie rules grab you, or it was straight into?
Oh, I played soccer here. I played with John Cosmino. I was with. His dad was the coach, so he was captain.
Yeah.
And,
no wonder you left and went to music.
But they were great. They were really good. I mean, the difference was because I was boxing too. I was state champion here. I was actually playing at the place where we won the state championships, and I was sitting back trying to reflect as to a junior, like that young girl that was here, and I had to. I can't remember. I was fighting a Dutch champion or something, and I had to go out and my dad was my coach, and I was waiting because he was a Commonwealth champion, you know, and I was waiting for him to come and he didn't turn up, and I went out and I got belted.
Oh, no.
Because I was more worried about my dad, you know.
Yeah, where's my dad?
And my dad used to say, just breathe, you know, go out, just do what you do, don't try and knock him out, you know, just outpoint him, you know. Yeah. I'm going out there going, ooh. Throwing him from back there. But no, I loved it. I still love sport. I love the way that sport's gone these days. We were talking about the girls getting some good money, you know. If you do a good job and you deliver the goods, you're entitled to the package, you know.
So you come here, boxing, soccer, you've been aligned with Central District Footy Club, of course. That would have been exciting times as well. Yeah,
that was great. I mean, back then, Centrals were a little bit different, you know.
Sure.
It was much more rough and tumble, you know. Yeah. And I knew everybody at the game, so it was always... You know, what are you doing sitting up there with those guys? You know, I don't tell you what they call them. But and I'm sitting there with the Premier or the Minister for Police or whatever it was, or the drug squad or something, and they're all going, ooh. Yeah. But no, I loved it. I loved going out there. I loved the atmosphere, you know, and I still like the atmosphere now. I sometimes, Dee Shepherd, who's a friend of mine, she does Thebbet novel, and you know, she keeps me well informed and drags me along to games. And I played at Adelaide Oval. We did a big after the show concert, you know, and it was great fun, you know.
So they talk about the commitment for sport. To be successful, you have to be driven. For music, can you draw a comparison between
absolutely
music
parallel
and sport?
Because if you don't get in there, you're not committed, you're not prepared to put the hard yards in, and it's not all roses, you know. You have to go along. I mean, I'm 64 and I'm heading next month. I'm heading for Sydney because that's where the work is. Now you can work down here if you're part-time, but if you're full-time and you want to, you know, most of my work cost me $1,700 to fly up to Sydney, my accommodation, everything like that, and that's $1,700 that you could be putting off a mortgage or something, you know. Yeah. So I'm going to go up there. My wife's staying here because her mum's in a nursing home here. She's very healthy, but you know, very healthy. So she'll stay here for a while, and then I'll just go up there and take over work. But what I'll do is I'll just get myself a little studio. It's like going back to being a beginner, you know. You get a studio apartment, and all I need is a bed with a TV, and it's got Foxtel and a bathroom. I'm laughing. Yeah. I don't need a flash joint.
Mate, the journey for you though, you know, we had the young girl, Alex, a squash player. You've got to start somewhere. Yeah. And then it's making the work, the effort, the commitment to be successful like you were. What was the big turning point for you that said, this is going to send my career forward?
The first band I was in, I went to Melbourne with them, and we got hired to back a girl called Lynn Randell, who had a #1 single at the time. And we didn't know she had a #1 single, and we didn't get paid like she had a #1 single, because when you're a kid, you know, all the professionals use you up like big time. But the good thing was that we got to experience what it's like for the guys when they go on the road. You have to go and stay in a hotel, you know, so you have to iron your own clothes and do all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of downsides to it for a 14-year-old hanging around with 27-year-olds.
And that's how old you were at the time, 14?
14, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was just 14, yeah. But it was me and the bass player, Vic, he was in London now, but he was in Germany with that girl that did that 99 Lufthansa balloons.
What a great song. It was
they all kicked goals because we were serious about what we did. And it's like anything, if you're going to do boxing, I used to come home from soccer practice and I'd run to training for the boxing, and then I'd run back, you know. And I'd get up in the morning and I'd clean my boots, and, you know, I'd dub in my boxing boots. And dubbing, you don't even hear that word anymore.
Not anymore, no.
But, you know, you've got to be conscientious, willing to accept defeat and accept it in a gracious manner, you know, and say, you know, what did I learn out of that? Where did I go wrong? How did I get beat, you know?
Well, you got to the top.
Yep.
Tell us about the time at the top.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You know, we get little glimpses of it now because I get to play with Jimmy, my brother, and he releases a book, and then everybody knows everything about you. He's got a new one coming out called Working Class Boy, not Working Class Man, Working Class Boy. You know? He never had a job in his life. The last job he had was milk monitor. You know? But the thing is, we go out and play for Ronald McDonald House or something, and you go to Sydney and you do what used to be the entertainment centre. It's gone now, and we've got John Stevens and David Campbell and Mahalia, Jimmy's band. The family is like a, you know, it's like a massive big time band. So they throw me in there at the start, you know, with the Lions when everybody's sober and they've got one glass of wine and they're hanging on to it going like this, you know. And by the time I've finished my sport, which I'm good at, I really like that warming the crowd up, you know, because it's I get really nervous still. After 50 years of playing, I get nervous, and it's kind of good because that nerves I turn into, I've got to work my way, how am I going to get through here? How am I going to, you know, and you start thinking about, it's not just get up and stand there and play. That's where they make the mistake. You've got to give a little to yourself, invite them into a party, entertain them, you know. And at the start of the night, don't give them too much because they're not ready for that. That's Jimmy's job. He gets paid the big money, you know. Let him take it. So.
But you do a lot of work here with the homeless. The Crows and the Power do that as well. So good.
Absolutely.
What's that experience like for you?
I met, is it Russell Ebert?
Yep, great man.
The great, mate, I've got so much respect for that man, and one of them, I didn't know how big he was, you know, and I just, was it possible to get some of the guys to come in? I was doing a Rana Foundation at the time. I actually came to Adelaide because of the Rana Foundation. I was flying across and doing things. And then we got an opportunity to come because Virginia's mum was not sick, but she was going into a nursing home. And we thought, yep, it's time for my wife to spend some time with her mum.
Yes.
And it was really funny because I went in there and I didn't know what to expect, and the kids have all got their port scarves and they've got their, you know, the crows, and they've got Down syndrome and all of this. But you tell them about football, they'll tell you they'll tell you what the guy has for lunch. And Russell brought in some of the boys, and those boys now are big stars, but then they were just young boys, and I've never seen a man command so much respect from young players, you know, and the people in the place. So I thought he must have been pretty good, you know. And then later on I found out, of course, you know, the guy's a legend, you know. And the same, I had the same with Ruse. I would sit there and have a coffee with him, you know, in Hyde Park Bakery, and we have our coffee there. And he was there every day, and he said, "Oh, come and train with me." I said, "Sure. What time do you start?" He said, 5:30. I went, "Oh, I'm just getting in there."
I'm just getting in.
Even now, you know, because it takes me that long to get up the road.
I want to ask you this, and it's a difficult question to answer, but in the industry of rock and roll, there's always sex, drugs, rock and roll. There's always been that line that's gone with it. We see with the AFL players now, the drugs are coming into it. The disposable income and the fame.
Terrible drugs.
Yeah. Can you give us a little bit of a history of how hard it is to say no?
How hard it is to say no? Well, you're asking the wrong man, because I couldn't say no. I actually had a problem with drugs and alcohol. 16 years ago, I was 2 weeks close to death, and they said, "Mate, you're not going to make it, you know. And I thought, well, you know, I'm not going to make it. Christ, fought this hard, might as well have a go at it.
Yeah.
And it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But I had my wife, and my love for my wife was greater than my need for drugs. You've got to, and playing and music, because my standard had gone downhill.
Yes.
And once your standard starts to slip, you either get a grip of it or you're out the game quick smart, you know, because they're ruthless in the rock and roll game. Same as football.
Yeah. So 16 years clean. Good luck to you. Well done. And you know what? It's a lesson to be learnt by young kids going through.
Well, I go to all the schools, and any schools that want me, they know how to get me. John Swan at swanee.com.au. I'll come out and talk to the kids, because I feel it's our job as older people in that circle. If they can see what we had, I showed them a PowerPoint with the big 5 acres up in Sydney and all the new cars and all that sort of stuff. And then I clean the board off, and they say, why is that? And I say, well, that's what I had left after drugs and alcohol. Nothing. You know.
Tough battle, 16 years, mate. Well done. It's an enormous thing to get off, I would imagine.
It is, but I've got the salvos now, and I do the homeless thing. And when you're doing something for somebody else, you're out of your own head. You're busy, you know. I don't think too much about it. I just go ahead and do it. Take the next project on, get it finished, and then find something else to do. And I've got to be 100% committed to whatever I do. And I didn't want to be South Australian of the Year, especially senior. When they said senior,
I tried to get junior in there.
I thought senior was a Mexican, you know. It's senior. But you know, it's an honour, and
it is.
You know. But
when we talk to sporting people, there's usually a moment in your life that your grand final win. Is there a moment for you that the best song that you ever did? Is there something that's number one in your mind? Not family orientated, music orientated. Music
orientated. I really enjoyed being at. It was at Port. And I think it was 1980 something when Port had won the grand final, and they had a big concert at Adelaide Oval, and Jimmy was the headline act, and he hired me to do one song, come out and sing it. You know, he said, but you have to be sober to sing it. And I went, it was like training for a prize fight. You know?
Wow.
But I went out and did When Something Is Wrong with My Baby with him, and I was shaking like a leaf, and I got through it at the end, and it started to make me think that, you know, there's something in this.
Yeah,
you know?
there's something in this being sober thing.
You recognise and remember where you were. You wake up to the same person.
Yeah, that's it.
Swanee, we could talk to you for hours.
Thank you.
Some great
Thank
stories.
you so much.
It's terrific what you do for the community too, mate. We really appreciate that. Stay with us. Still plenty to come on the show.